The issues affecting you. Revealed, explained, discussed. Now on WGAL 8 in Focus.
Hello, I'm Susan Shapiro. Quilts of Valor is an organization that honors service members and veterans touched by war with a handmade quilt. Several groups in the Susquehanna Valley make the quilts and then present them to the vets and the service members. They're much more than pieces of fabric stitched together, but a comfort to veterans who receive them. We'll meet one of the quilters and 3 veterans who have received quilts as we put Quilts of Valor in focus. Joining us now is Joe Garvin, volunteer group leader with the Quilts of Valor Foundation. Thanks for being on In Focus.
No, thank you for having me.
What are Quilts of Valor?
Quilts of Valor are quilts made by groups for the mission of the Quilts of Valor, which is to cover service members and veterans with comfort and healing, with comfortable and healing Quilts of Valor.
Something as simple as a quilt can do that.
Hopefully it's a healing process for some of the veterans and some of the service members, especially the Vietnam War veterans who certainly weren't treated real well when they came home, and some of them are coming out and it's helping to heal them, which is very important.
How did you get involved with this group?
Well, my girlfriend, Kim, she's a military wife. Her husband was in the Army. He's now retired. She started a group in Lancaster with the Red Rose Quilters Guild, and she said, I want to make quilts for veterans. I said, okay. She started the group. She taught some classes, and one of the reasons why I got involved is my father was in the Navy. He served on the USS Midway in the 1940s, an aircraft carrier. My bonus father was in the Army. My younger brother is in the Air Force. And my husband, who's very supportive of what we do and helps me a lot, I couldn't do it without him. His grandfather was at Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. Wow. And he didn't talk about it, but he did come home. So.
Now we have some of the quilts that have been, and I like that you say they're awarded. It's not considered a gift, is that correct?
No, it's an award, and some of the veterans feel that this award is more important than some of the medals that they received.
What do you hope they're feeling when they receive this quilt and when they, use it or display it?
Comfort, healing, and hopefully they use it. I want them to be in a recliner watching TV, and I want them to cover themselves and enjoy it and use it. I want them to feel a little bit of healing and comfort when they receive it, and hopefully that continues.
Yeah, that warmth. And these are some of the quilts, as I said, that some local veterans have received. How many of these quilts have, not these, but how many have you made over the years?
No, I don't make quite as many because I'm kind of busy with the paperwork and the managing of the group. But our group, since just this year, our group has made and awarded 133. And since 2017, when we started the group, we're at 693. Now,
wow.
Nationally, we didn't start counting the quilts at 2003 when the organization was founded. We started in 2011 when the Quilts of Valor Foundation became a nonprofit, and then they had to have policies and procedures. So being a nonprofit, they started counting in 2011. So to date, 434,000 quilts have been made and awarded by the foundation.
Wow. And how do you decide who gets awarded a quilt?
We have a website, qovf.org, and anyone who wants to nominate someone can go to that website, put the information in, and it goes to a state coordinator. We have groups in every state. And it'll go to a state coordinator. She'll look at who lives closest to the nominee and contact that group leader by email and ask them if they will accept it. And when we do, then we make the contact and arrange for about a 15 to a half hour awarding ceremony with family members if they wish. It could be at a church, it could be at a VFW, American Legion. We've done Pennsylvania Wounded Warriors Gala, and yeah, so the awards, that's how we award them then. That's how we get notified. We also have people just hearing about it, and then they'll say, I have somebody in mind who would like a quilt. How do I go about that? And I'll say, well, you give me the information and I can handle it for you.
All
so
right.
Thank you.
Well, we know you can handle quilting too. We're going to take a look at a quilt you have made and talk about what goes into that process.
This is WGAL 8 in Focus, coverage you can count on.
We continue our conversation with Joe Garvin, volunteer group leader with the Quilts of Valor Foundation. And I know you've been a longtime quilter. How did you get into quilting?
My good friend Kim.
That Kim, she's
Kim, yeah. I've always, when I was getting close to retirement, and I said, what am I going to do? Well, I tried different crafts, and I started cutting fabric apart and making quilts and took some classes, and I was hooked. Yes.
That would be crocheting hooked, right? But you like it. What do you like about it?
What do I like about it? It's therapeutic. It's creative. You're using the right side of your brain. You're taking patterns. You're figuring out that some math is involved, and you're cutting. You go to the store. You look at this beautiful fabric and you buy it, and then you cut it apart and you sew it back together again. But you sew it into a pattern. It's creative art. Yes.
Well, let's take a look at the quilt you have recently made. Tell me about this.
This happens to be one with 1.5 inch strips, which the one block is scraps left over. We don't throw anything away, and especially me. My mom always said I was frugal, and so I made the blocks with the strips, and the other block with a star. That's English paper piecing. I also like to do handwork, so that is applied. That the blocks, the stars are put together, and then applique on top of the background.
It's beautiful.
Thank
Are there
you.
certain criteria for a quilt of valor in terms of size and color and pattern?
We'd like to stick with red, white, and blue. I think some of the veterans, we have tried some others, and I think they were a little disappointed. So we stick with red, white, and blue, and the measurements are on our website, but we like to stick with 60 inches by 80 inches because that seems to cover them adequately.
Yeah, it's a sizable quilt. How long did this take you to make?
2 years.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it is, but I'm pretty busy otherwise, so I don't get to do as much quilting as I would like to do.
And tell me about, we also have some, as I said, quilts that have been awarded to veterans. They have you've signed the quilt, or the quilter has signed it and said something there.
Yeah, we have an official Quilts of Valor label. When we have the award ceremony, we give them a gift bag. We give them a copy of the award wording, a certificate, and also a letter that tells the journey of the quilt, where we go out and we find a pattern, we buy fabric, we cut it apart, we sew it back together again, and we let them know just what we went through to make that quilt. The top of the quilt, there's 3 layers, and the top of the quilt represents the many communities and the individuals who have contributed to it. Then there's batting, which is next, and that represents the warmth and the comfort and the healing. And the backing is the strength that supports the other layers as they're stitched together, as they're supported by their friends and family.
There's so much meaning involved in stitching something together, and hopefully stitching someone's life, back together. What is it like for you to see the person or know the person who has received one of your quilts?
It is an honor for us to do this. It's courage for them to come out and say what they went through. They served our country. They gave us freedom. It's an honor. It really is. And when you see their face, whether it's tears, it's a smile, it's a thank you, it's a hug, and it's all worthwhile. It really is.
Oh, well, your wonderful talent really sends a great message.
Thank you. Yeah, we learn a lot of skills over the years, and some of our members aren't quite as skilled. They might start new, and it's also, when we have our meetings, it's a way for people also to learn from us.
Yeah, and there's camaraderie around you. Thank you so much. And coming up, we'll meet 3 veterans who have received Quilts of Valor.
This is WGAL 8 in Focus, coverage you can count on.
Joining us now are 3 veterans from the Susquehanna Valley who have received Quilts of Valor, and I am honored to have all 3 of you here. Please tell me your name and your service.
Thank you for having us, Susan. My name is Eldon Morey. I entered the military at Parris Island, South Carolina in 1987, and I retired from the Army in December of 2022. During my time, I served in the First Gulf War and Iraq.
Wow.
I'm Andrew Shea, and thank you for having us here today. I was in the United States Army 1988 to 1992, active duty, and I was part of Operation Desert Storm. I served with K Troop, 3rd Squadron, 2nd Armored Cavalry Regiment.
I'm Mike Stringent. Thank you for having me as well. I am a Beirut Marine. There's very few of us, and it was a conflict long ago.
So you 3 do know each other. In fact, you're in a support group in Harrisburg together. What is that like to have, that camaraderie and something in common with other men?
It's a great place for us to meet and get together and speak to people that have been through a similar circumstance in the course of their life. Those of us that have chose to serve. And we're called to be war fighters. We speak the same language, we hang out, we do things together as a group, and we branch out and we do things individually. The support has been a blessing.
One of my biggest concerns as I was transitioning into retirement was losing that connection with the soldiers and Marines, because it had been a part of my life for so long. And I have found that it's vital for me to surround myself with fellow men and women that been there, done that.
It's nice to have guys like Eldon and Mike around and part of a group, but as we get more life seasoned,
I like that term.
thank you, I think we learn that we actually need each other. We need to share life together, because even though each one of our experiences is different, there's a tie that binds that gives us a common bond instantly.
What, if anything, did you know about Quilts of Valor?
I knew little to nothing about the Quilts of Valor. I engaged with Rick Britton in the Vet Center in Harrisburg about 3 years ago. And in my 2nd year in 2023, Rick asked me if I would be a recipient of the Quilts of Valor. And knowing nothing about it, but trusting in Rick, I said, of course, I'd love to. And on Veterans Day of 2003, I was honored I was given the Quilt of Valor. And for me, it was very special in that I was in a little-known conflict. I'm not a Desert Storm or a Iraqi vet. And there was only a handful of us there. And most historians and think when they go through the history of warfare, they just buzz over us. So to be honored, for such an event was moving, to say the least.
For me, it was an emotion I didn't expect. It's a quilt, right? Like, what's the big deal about a quilt? I will say I wanted nothing to do with it, because I don't think there's valor's bone in my body, despite what everybody else will tell me. And it was it brought me a different kind of joy than I expected, and I had a little different emotional reaction to it. And I just got mine in 2025, but listening to Mike and other vets in our group that have received them, I've come to figure out that what it does for me more than anything, it reminds me that it's okay to remember what I spend a lot of a day trying to forget.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this reminds me that it's okay to remember that.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, stay with us. We're going to show each of your quilts and, again, talk a little bit more about what it's done for each of you.
This is WGAL 8 in Focus, coverage you can count on.
We have a great honor here of having 3 veterans with us from the Susquehanna Valley who have all received Quilts of Valor. Eldon, tell me about your quilt and when you received it.
Same as Mike, Rick Britton from the Harrisburg Vet Center reached out to me, asked me if I'd be interested in receiving one. And I knew nothing about Quilts of Valor. Only thing that was going through my brain is that it was a blanket of some sort. And I asked Rick, hey, is there somebody out there that's more deserving or in need of a blanket than me? And he says, brother, this ain't about staying warm, this is about recognition. So I said, yeah, you know what, sign me up. And I had no idea really until we got to the church in Edders that evening. We had a dinner beforehand and a beautiful ceremony afterwards. And I got to tell you, Susan, when I retired in December of 22, I left the service with a very, very bitter taste in my mouth, and I was very angry with a lot of the things that had transpired in my career over the previous, the last 6 to 8 years of my career. And I was just carrying that bitterness all this time, and as soon as they draped this over my shoulders, I was overcome with emotions that I didn't know existed in me. It was a very emotional moment, and almost instantly I could feel that bitterness just starting to slip away. And that was about a month ago today. I've been using this every night since, when I go to bed at night, and I can tell you I am a lot less angry and bitter today than I was a month ago.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. And both of your quilts have the same insignia there, I guess you could call it.
Yeah,
what does that say, Andrew?
It says, our Quilt of Valor, our mission to cover service members and veterans touched by war in comforting and healing quilts of valor, and to say thank you for your service and sacrifice. And it has my name and the 3 ladies' names who put it together, which has a lot of meaning to it.
That's really something. And Mike, yours is a little bit different.
Mine's a little bit different. It's all handwritten, and it's Quilts of Valor, Pillars of Strength, made by Joe Stauffer, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, quilted by Joe Stauffer. Mike Stringent, United States Marine Corps, 1981 to 1985. Deployed service, Beirut, Lebanon, in 1983. Veterans Day, November 11, 2003. We thank you for your service and your sacrifice. It's very special.
And obviously each one is unique and has different patterns, and yours has, it says "We the People," and that must really mean something to you to know who made it and how they made it.
To know who made it and know that it was made specifically for you. And as Eldon said, it's when I received it, it was moving. But not only that day, but it lays at the foot of my bed, and I touch it every morning. I touch this quilt every day. I do. And it reminds me that there are appreciative people out there for our service and our sacrifice, and we thank them for that.
What a wonderful way to award that sacrifice, yeah.
Do you want me to say something?
I do, yeah. About your quilt and how it makes you feel.
So, the old saying is that, freedom isn't free, but when you receive something like this, even though inherently, and I think I can speak for Eldon and Mike, we don't feel we deserve this, and we really don't want them because we don't want to be reminded. But in that moment, it's like the first tangible thing that I personally have ever received that said, from somebody else that said, you know what, I just want to say thank you, and that is it. And I was like, that is what overwhelmed me, because not that I need it, but I never received anything just as a pure gift that said, God bless you and thank you.
And this, without a doubt, trumps any military award I ever received, ever.
By a mile.
Wow. And to think of all the work that went into these. Well, thank you, all of you. Thank you for your service, and thanks for being here.
It's an honor to
worth it.
serve.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for WGAL 8 in Focus. For all of us at WGAL, I'm Susan Shapiro. And join us again next Sunday morning at 11 for WGAL 8 in Focus, right after NBC's Meet the Press. And you can watch each episode of In Focus, plus WGAL's latest newscasts, original programming, and more. Just download the Very Local app and stream for free on Roku and Amazon Fire TV.